the BBC's news at 6. Next year's general election will go down as the first to feature live TV debates between the leaders of the three main Westminster parties. There'll be 3 broadcasts, one each on ITV, Sky and the BBC, in front of a selected audience. TV debates have been a key feature of American elections for decades. Our political correspondent, Joe Coburn, looks at whether they will now become as important a part of the election campaign here.
Going head-to-head for the first time on live TV. The would-be Prime Ministers of the 3 main parties will slug it out in a series of showdown debates during the general election next year, whenever that is.
I've been pushing for it for 2 years for this to happen. I've always believed in live television debates. I think they can help enliven our democracy. I think they will help answer people's questions. I think they will help crystallise the debate about the change this country needs, and I'm delighted that they're taking place.
There'll be 3 live TV debates during the election campaign. The first one on ITV, then Sky, and finally the BBC. They'll be between 85 and 90 minutes long and held in front of a selected audience.
This has been a truly terrible year for politicians in the wake of the expenses scandal, and people have lost so much trust in politics. So I think it's right that we try and do something different at the next general elections.
Presidential-style debates are a big political gamble for any politician. Even the telegenic former Prime Minister Tony Blair stuck to traditional battle bus campaigning. So the pressure will be on his successor, Gordon Brown, who's generally less comfortable in front of the cameras. In America, TV debates have long been a firm fixture on the campaign schedule, with some memorable performances. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan turned the issue of his age to his advantage.
I am not going to exploit, for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience.
The question is, how influential will TV leader debates be here in Britain?
This certainly makes a big change to the nature of British election campaigns, in the sense that these, I think, will undoubtedly be crucial punctuation marks during the course of the campaign.
We'd like to see the results by time.
General election results have been broadcast live on TV since the 1950s. Now, 60 years later, a new chapter of broadcasting and election history could be in the making. Joe Coburn, BBC News, Westminster.
Well, let's get some more on this from our political correspondent, Laura Koonsberg in Westminster. Laura, there have been plenty of calls in the past for these kind of TV debates. Why do you think it's going to happen this time round?
Well, you're right, George. Traditionally, this has been seen as a gamble for the resident of number 10 Downing Street, but perhaps it's no coincidence. If you look at where Labour has been in the polls for the last couple of years, pretty much consistently around about 10 points behind, Gordon Brown and his team must have looked at this and thought, well, perhaps they've not got that much to lose. So agreeing historically to this series of debates going ahead in the election campaign next year. It is important to say, though, not everybody has welcomed this. Both of the nationalist parties, both Clyde Cymru, who of course is part of the government in Wales, and the Scottish Nationalists, who run the Scottish government in Holyrood, both of them say this is undemocratic. Both of them say this is unacceptable because there are no plans at the moment that have been agreed to include them. Clyde Cymru are writing to the electoral watchdog. The SNP are complaining heartily. They're seeking assurances from the broadcasters that they will be included somehow. If not, they are considering potentially taking legal action. So plenty of wrangles ahead. But this decision, this announcement, is going to make history in the way the general election campaign looks when it gets going next year.
OK, Laura, thank you. Eurostar services have been shut down for the 3rd day in a row.